Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers. Everyone who wants to learn English can hear this tongue twister at English lessons. But why? Why do we need this particular set of words? Peter Piper is an English language nursery rhyme and well-known alliteration tongue twister. So, what is alliteration? Alliteration is a literary device that reflects repetition in two or more nearby words of initial consonant sounds. Alliteration doesn't refer to the repetition in consonant letters that begin words, but rather the repetition of the consonant sound at the beginning of words. For example, the phrase "kids' coats" is alliterative. Though the words begin with different consonant letters, they produce the same consonant sounds. Similarly, the phrase "phony people" isn't alliterative. Though both words begin with the same consonant, the initial consonant sounds are different. For example, alliterative tongue twisters are used for encouraging language learners, generally children, to hear the similar sound repeated at the beginning of several words. A well-known alliterative tongue twister is "She sells seashells at the seashore." Alliterative tongue twisters are often utilized by actors, politicians, and public speakers for verbal exercises in clarity of speaking. Then it's even more interesting. Can we see alliteration in our everyday life? And I'd say yes. So now I'd like to tell you about common examples of alliteration in everyday speech. People use alliterative phrases frequently in everyday conversation. These phrases are sometimes sound cliché, however, they are effective. Here are some examples of alliteration in everyday speech. Big businesses, kissing cousins, jumping jacks, quick question, money matters. There are also some examples of alliteration in popular culture. Alliteration is a common approach for advertising, marketing, and other elements of popular culture, in that the repetition of initial letter sounds can be attention-grabbing and memorable for consumers, viewers, etc. Here are some examples. Dunkin' Donuts, Weight Watchers, Hip Hop. Now, I'd like to mention the usage of alliteration in fictional character names. So many artists and writers also use alliteration for fictional character names. The examples are Peter Parker, Wonder Woman, Mickey Mouse, Bugs Bunny, and Peppa Pig. Then there is a difference between alliteration, consonants, and assonance. So, alliteration, consonants, and assonance are all literary devices that use utilized as means of creating emphasis, attention, significance, and importance to words in poetry, prose, or speech. These literary devices can be used for both artistic and rhetorical effect. Alliteration almost exclusively refers to the repetition of initial consonant sounds across the start of several words in a line of text. What is more, there are some famous examples of alliteration in literature. Alliteration is a useful device in literary works. The repetition of initial consonant sounds can have a pleasing effect for readers and listeners. In addition, it calls attention to the rhetorical and artistic impact of words. All of us know The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe, and it can be an example of alliteration in literature. In this well-known poem, Poe utilizes alliteration to build a poetic mood. The poet begins his descriptive alliteration with "weak and weary," as well as "nodded, nearly napping," to create special atmosphere. As a result, the sudden tapping at the door is both a surprise to the poet and reader. So, to sum up, alliteration is a repetition of sounds, not just letters. Alliterative words don't have to be right next to each other. Other words can appear between them. And alliteration is found often in poetry and prose, as well as in commercial writing like brand names and marketing taglines. Thank you for your attention.